Welcome to Workplace Psychology with Dr. Martha Greidick. I'm Dr. Martha Greidick. This podcast examines a wide variety of work-related issues through the lens of industrial and organizational psychology. And while many of the topics discussed here may be seen as intended for white-collar employees and their employers, in reality, the ideas presented here are applicable across organizations and industries. Additionally, many of the topics discussed here may be applicable outside of the workplace. I encourage you to examine what's presented here, apply what makes sense to you, and simply discard the rest. Work-life balance is not a new topic of conversation, yet it continues to be an important topic of conversation. Why is that? Well, in short, because a lack of work-life balance or an improper balance between work and the rest of our lives can lead to some unpleasant effects or results such as stress and even burnout. But as we continue to examine this topic of work-life balance, it's time that we take it to the next level and look at this idea in a more holistic way. As more and more people are considering this topic of conversation, they are taking it a step further and looking beyond work-life balance. Instead, they're considering life balance in general. You may be wondering, well, what's the difference between work-life balance and life balance? Generally speaking, work-life balance is big on separating the work domain from your non-work domain, meaning separating the work life, your work, from the rest of your life. And that is still a valid and important idea. However, it tends to stop there. Not all the time, but entirely too often. So we can have a well-separated work domain from a non-work domain, yet each domain can have its own chaos within it. So while they're balanced in terms of being separated, there is no balance within each domain. Life balance, on the other hand, focuses on balancing all of the different areas of life, thus achieving a more holistic balance to your everyday experience, whether that's at work or outside of the workplace. By now you may be wondering, what does life balance look like? Well, it has to begin by examining the different areas of your life, and that includes your work life as well as the different areas in your non-work life, in your personal life. How well are things going in each of the different areas of your life? Are things peaceful, calm, and productive, or are they stressful and chaotic? Different areas of your life may be in different states. Some may be more peaceful and harmonious, and other may be more chaotic and stressful. It's not a black and white type of situation. There's going to be different variations. Life balance is a moving target. Things may be more peaceful and balanced in one area of life during one time of the year, for example, and more chaotic during another time of the year. Think holidays when it comes to your personal life, or think end of fiscal year when it comes to your work life. Some times of the year may be more organized and peaceful, more productive, while other times may be more stressful, more chaotic. This is important to remember so that we don't go into this examination of the different areas of our lives with an idea that they are supposed to be in one certain way, written in stone, if you will. We have to be flexible because life changes from one situation to the next and from one day to the next. As you examine the different areas of your life, it's important to take stock and better understand of how things are serving you today and into the future as you examine that particular area. Think about what areas of your life could use some improvement and how you could go about it. And after that, it's time to look at it collectively, how it all comes together. So while it's important to examine the different areas of your life, it's also important to understand how well they play together. Beyond just examining the different areas of your life, think in terms of priorities. What's important to you today? And remember that what's most important to you today may not be most important to you a decade from now, and it may have been a different situation a decade ago. So again, flexibility is key. After all, the idea is to grow and change with the passage of time. Remember to consider things such as self-care and your health, and that includes your physical health as well as your psychological and emotional health. How do you connect with others? Do you have a circle of friends? Do you have a circle of family members, people with whom you connect? What about people at work? Do you have a strong network while at the workplace? And just as it's important to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, it's also important to consider how you're taking care of others and how you're contributing to the greater good. It's not difficult to see how considering all of these things can easily apply to every single area of life. That includes both your work life and your non-work life. So while separating work and non-work domains is still very important, it's critical that we don't just stop there, but rather understand how well we're doing in each area of life as we seek out a different approach to balance, from work-life balance to a more holistic overall life balance. One of the many benefits to remember is that as you move beyond work-life balance and start focusing on life balance, you will see benefits such as stress reduction and reduced likelihood of burnout. And that by itself is worth taking some time and effort to examine how well you're doing in terms of balance in your life. As this episode comes to an end, let's review what was discussed. The topic of work-life balance continues to be a popular and important topic of conversation. However, many are taking things to the next level. From simply focusing on separating the work domain from the non-work domain, we are recognizing that it's important to have a more holistic approach and seek a life balance instead of just a work-life balance. This means examining the different areas in your life and making sure that each area is in the most balanced state that is possible for you at the time. The other thing that's important to remember is that things change with the passage of time. So what may be more peaceful and well organized today may be a little more chaotic and stressful 6 months from now. Remember that, because after all, things are not written in stone. This is why continued effort is required as we seek work-life balance and life balance in general. As the week unfolds, I invite you to examine the balance in your own life. You may want to start with the state of your own work-life balance. But once you have that established, or once you figure out where you stand with that, take it a step further. Look through a new lens and consider how well balanced is your life in general. From there, take what you learned here today and start addressing the different areas of life so that you too can achieve not only work-life balance, but general life balance, where each area of your life is more organized, peaceful, and brings you more joy than stress. For those of you who experience this podcast in an audio-only version, I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, where you can find this podcast in a video version. The link for my YouTube channel is in the description below. Beyond the video version of this podcast, my YouTube channel also contains videos on stress management. So make sure you check out the link below. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to this podcast. I look forward to seeing you here next time. Until then, I wish you joy and well-being.